So today we are going to start our discussion on PyUnit, the unit test framework for Python, and we will see how we structure our test. We no longer write down these standalone scripts, rather we create a structure to our test to facilitate test-driven development, and how we do add assertions in our test cases, that is validation of our action. And then we are going to have a look at how we can introduce synchronization and parameterization at the script level, two important pillars of test automation. So this is the day 9 session. I hope you all have the registration user script handy. So some of you have emailed me already, that was fine, but I believe rest of you who couldn't email, you all have the register user script handy and available as asked yesterday. Okay. So for automation framework to facilitate test management capabilities like data-driven test, setting up test pre-condition and post-condition, having expected and actual output validation, report generation facility, for that we basically require a unit test framework as it comes with these feature set. So the library which we are going to use is unit test library. Generally, this library is already available to us within the Python installation as well. To check, we simply say Python m unit test. It will say tran test in 0 seconds and everything is okay. So you can try out this command on your command prompt window. Say Python space dash m space unit test. You should all get this output. Please try this out. Done? Okay. Okay. So the Python unit test components are like this. You have a test loader component which consists of a test suite or a test runner artifact. The test suite contains test cases. The test runner, when executing the suite, basically results in the test report. So this is the structure of the Python unit test framework. Then there are some methods in which the code is going to be structured. So basically these are known as fixtures around which the code is going to be structured. The first is the setup method. It is like a precondition. So basically you set up the environment. For example, for us we are going to create an instance of the browser, maybe launching of the URL on the browser, etc. Then you have got the test fixture. In the test, the actual steps to be implemented to test the given scenario at hand by automating the application are the steps which we mention in the test fixtures. And generally, we provide test as a prefix to the name of the methods which we use in the test fixture. Then you have tear down. Tear down is like a post condition, a cleanup place where you basically clean up the environment so that the next test execution can take place perfectly fine. This is the document for the unit test. Have a look at it, please. Okay, so now we are going to see the simple login logout script which we created yesterday, and from now on we are going to structure our test like this document. So please pay attention. You are going to import the WebDriver from the Selenium library. Then you are going to import the unit test module. Once you import the unit test module, all these fixtures get available to you. Then we create a class login and we say this class login is inheriting from unit test case. Okay, I hope you all remember that this is known as the concept of inheritance. So login is a child of unit test dot test case class. Then we have our setup method where we pass the class object itself. We say self.driver, initializing it to Chrome, self.base URL, any verification error list, and a boolean variable except next alert to be true. So this is how we set our setup method where we create an instance of the Chrome browser. Then in the login method, we fixture test and we call this method as login. We initialize the driver object to be self.driver. Then we use the driver methods driver.get, driver.find element, finding my account, clearing email address, typing password, clicking on log off and continue button. All these steps are put in here in the test fixture. And then we have tear down where we are basically quitting any errors, and we are basically asserting that verification errors are is equal to empty. So we are simply using an assert statement. For the time being, I am commenting this out because we have not discussed assertion yet. Then here we are calling. So we are simply saying that call the unit test main method. So when I run this program, it will basically launch this unit test case using the Python unit test framework and execute the same login logout script, but this execution is using the Python unit test. You get this output. So I'm sharing this script with you guys. Please try it out at your systems. While copy pasting it, please ensure that your indentation is well maintained. Ensure that the indentation is taken care of. Please always remember that. Scroll up. No, the error.
Oh, oh, oh. These are correct, right? The underscores.
Show the program. You have called this browser line number 6.
Yeah,
Then what is self.driver? It doesn't know. There is no self.driver written in here. It does not know what self.driver is. If you see the copy pasted method, instead of browser, it should be self.driver. Instead of browser, it should be self.driver. You basically overwrote the copy pasted code you did from my end, right? Because you want to use Firefox.
yeah.
Change browser to self.driver, Puneet. Now run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are all of you done? Let me know so that we can move forward. Karthik and Puneet, you guys done? Please let me know. Okay, great. So I hope you all have understood the structure. Now we are going to understand the concept of assertion. So the unit test framework provides us with some assertion methods. Let us have a look at it. So these are the list of assert methods which are available to us. Assert equal, assert not equal, assert true, assert false, validating whether whatever we are inputting in this expression is false, assert in whether an element is in the list or not, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the assert methods which are available to us. So assertions as discussed can be two ways. One is the object based assertion, that is we validate presence of an object, and another is the text based assertion, that is we validate presence or an absence of a text message. So in here, after we click on the sign in button, we are trying to find out in the page source whether it contains my account information or not. If it contains my account information, we go ahead and click on the log off link and continue button, and we say assert true. So we say they are valid user credential, put the message as true. Otherwise we say assert false and we say bad user credentials. Then in the tear down method, if there are um, no more exceptions encountered, we are simply equating that assert equal is equal to an empty list. So there are no verification errors. So in your script, create a new program, and in that program type this code snippet to assert the login action. Then run the test for a bad user and a valid user. For example, this execution is for a bad user, so login will not take place. So we will get an assertion error. Assertion error, bad user credential. Try this out, please. Yes, Puneet. Okay, so all of you are done. Great. This command, Puneet, it is page source. The output of page source is a string function. On that, we are using a method called as find to find a particular substring inside that text. If the substring is found, then you will not get -1. If the substring is not found, you will get -1. That is how you read this. Is this clear? Except next alert is just a boolean flag, as explained earlier. We are not using it right now because there are no alerts in here. It is just a flag to be set. You can right now even ignore it, not use it, because it is not being used anywhere. Sure. So we are now going to talk about a concept called as the concept of synchronization. The concept of synchronization basically says the speed at which the application is executing the commands should match the speed at which the commands are being sent to the application. So the tool is sending these commands to the application for automating these steps, and then the application is taking some time to execute these commands. The time which has been in between them should be in the sync. So it should be synchronized. If the time is not in sync, or it is not synchronized, then we will start getting object not found errors, because let's say the tool has sent the command but application is still on the previous page, so we will start getting object not found errors. Generally, if you see flaky test basically means those tests which randomly fails, then most of the times the problem is because of the synchronization error. Please remember that always. So in the synchronization, what we are going to do is, we are going to first use implicit wait. Implicit wait is basically an inherent wait which is available to us, so that with every step execution, we inherently wait for 30 seconds. Okay? So what I am going to do is, I am going to write down my login logout script. In here, I will introduce the implicit wait, and I am going to deliberately give a bad locator for the log off link. Okay. Now what will happen? Let us see. Let me execute this program. It has logged in. Now please note that it has not immediately called quit to this execution. It is actually waiting, and it will wait for 30 seconds for the log double F link to appear, but it will not appear. But because of this implicit wait introduced, you see this no wait period. If there is no implicit wait, then it will immediately exit, causing an error, okay, or throwing an error. But right now it will basically wait for 30 seconds for error to generate. So the error which you will receive is no such element exception. Unable to locate the element with the locator provided log double F. This is the error which you receive when when object is not found and your program has an implicit wait. You will still get this error if you are not using implicit wait, but then the error would be immediate. You will not see that wait period. It will immediately quit. See, it immediately quitted, throwing this exception. So with implicit wait, we get some time for an object to be located using a locator value. Is this clear? The working of implicit weight. Try out it on your systems. See the behavior with implicit weight, without implicit weight, by giving a bad locator for any of the objects of your interest. Okay, Monica, great. Okay, so all of you done? Great. The next type of weight which we are going to have a look at is known as explicit weight. Explicit weight is basically used in those situations where it's like a local weight. So let us think and let us understand that, for example, for our entire script that is at the level of a global timeout, we basically require at the most 30 seconds for objects to be found. It's a standard weight which we use. But then there is a certain part of the application which may require more time in execution or processing commands than the rest of the code. So it is not advisable to increase the entire global timeout, rather introduce the local timeout for that script. Because remember, time is an asset in automation. You should not and do not use a very large time, a very large weight, because it will inherently slow down your script and then the purpose of automation will be lost. So there is a fine line drawn between how much you should wait and how reliable you want the script to be. So what we are going to use is known as explicit wait. So explicit wait we use by using something called as a WebDriver wait class available to us from the WebDriver support UI package, and another class called as expected condition. So how explicit wait works? Explicit wait basically works as either we wait for an expected condition event to complete or we time out. So basically there would be a given time period, let's say 20 seconds, 60 seconds, in which we will be waiting for that particular event to occur, for that expected condition to fulfill. If the condition is fulfilled within that time, then we basically are good to go. Else we are going to throw an exception and time out with it. So these are the two statements which we use for importing the packages. Then at the script level, you first set the implicit wait to 0 because you do not want them to interfere. Then you say you want to find an element by using the WebDriver wait command, waiting time being 10 seconds. Wait until you have an element which is located by link text log off. So EC is basically the name of the package name of the object you have given to the expected condition class. Using that, we are creating this command that we want to wait for an element to appear for 10 seconds. Now to test this out, I am going to give a bad locator value. When I run this program, it will wait for 10 seconds for the log FF link to appear. Since there is no such link, we are going to throw an exception, but the exception will be thrown after 10 seconds of wait because that is our expected condition. That is our explicit wait. So the 10 seconds have passed. You will always get this timeout exception. The exception which we get when explicit command or explicit wait fails is a timeout exception. So these are the lines you have to try. And these are the packages you will have to import. So try this in your login logout script. Create a separate class, copy paste your login logout code and make these changes there, please. So you have to use import for these three statements: by, WebDriver wait and expected condition. Besides this, unit test. And then here you will write down these lines: introduce implicit wait to 0, set the element to wait for 10 seconds until log off link appears. Uh, if you have both implicit and explicit mate, which error will be thrown? Karthik, see, implicit wait will basically throw you an error of object not found, whereas explicit wait will throw you an error of timeout. And generally, it is not that the local weight is going to override the global weight, unlike in some tools like QTP or UFTS per se. Generally, in open source tools like Selenium, they always interfere with each other. So we use only one of the weights, either implicit weight or explicit weight at any given time. So if you have set a global timeout using implicit weight, during the local timeout, we set the implicit weight to 0. Okay. So both the error messages are different. Okay, so I believe all of you have tried this out. So generally, where will you use these wait statements? Whenever there is a page change. Okay, you have clicked on a link, a new page is going to get loaded, or maybe some extra processing is going to get done, which you know by the behavior of your application. In those situations, you are generally going to use the wait statements. So both the weights are okay. Local weight is explicit weight, implicit weight is like a global timeout. Now we are going to talk about the concept of parameterization. I hope you all remember reading the file in Python. We wrote down a program to read the file and some string functions, specifically the split function where we separate based on a comma. So these are the commands which we are going to use. So parameterization concept basically says that execute the same test but with each execution pick up a new data set. So you execute the same test but with each execution you pick up a new data set for execution. So what we are going to do is I am going to show you the parameterization of login logout. You guys are going to try it on login logout and the register user, or you can just directly try it on register user. So we are going to create a text based file where we will have username, password. Okay. So we are going to read the file line by line. With each line read, it would be a string. We are going to split the string based on a comma and extract username and password and pass that data to our script. So here we use the file open command. The file is available in the dataset package login.txt. It's basically a file which contains two lines. Both the data are comma separated for me, the login logout. Then for line in file, so for each line in the file, I am going to split the line based on a comma and I am printing the data. Then data 0 would be my username, data 1 would be my password. I am using the strip command to remove the extra carriage return character or the enter character. Okay. So this particular test will execute how many times? It will execute two times. One for the valid user credential, second time for the invalid user credential, or it will execute as many times as many rows are there in my file. So we use the file read method and then we use the split command method to basically extract the username from the password, and thus we are able to execute our script for a valid login and an invalid login. Remember that your script which you want to iterate should be available inside this for loop. So I am not opening the browser again and again. Browser is opened once, but rest of my steps are inside this iteration. So I am sharing this part. What you guys have to do is, for the register user scenario, which you guys have automated, you create a text-based file with fname, email address and password, have 5 rows of data in it, and execute the register user scenario for these 5 rows of data. This you guys have to try. So you read the file line by line, you split the file line on a comma, you will get data 0 as first name, data 1 as email address and data 2 as password. So you appropriately pass on that information to the respective commands which are working on that field and automate and create 5 users by using the register user scenario. Is this clear to you guys? Not clear. What is not clear? Fill in the remaining rows. Provide your own data. The for loop is doing the iteration for you, Puneet. For line in file, for each line in the file. So there are 5 lines in the file. For each line, it is going to iterate your register user scenario. Isn't it clear? Let me unmute you so that you can talk.
Yeah, hi. Okay, this is something which I could understand, but I could not understand what we have to do. Like for register user, so there are so many fields, but you have
Yeah.
entered only three things.
Yeah, because for the
So,
rest of them you can use the same data point. Remember, register user only requires unique email ID. I'm deliberately giving you these 3 fields anyways, so that you understand the split command usage again. All you
so you're
need
saying
for...
that
Go ahead.
okay, so you're saying that five values, I mean five rows, I have to read from the text file,
Hmm.
and remaining things will be the hard coded ones which I have given.
Yeah. So last name,
Ah,
your city, state, etc. can remain hard coded. You need not change that for every user. Ideally, we just require email address. If you would have created a script where you only are iterating on email address, your register user will work. But I want you guys to try with this. Clear?
yeah, thanks.
Okay. Monica, do you have a question? So you basically create your rows. For example, you say username Tom, password like this. So on, create the 5 data sets in a file. For the rest of the steps as explained to Puneet, your data can remain hard coded. You need not change that. That's absolutely fine. So I believe it is clear to all of you what you are supposed to do. Is it clear? Okay. So go ahead, try this out. Are you guys able to make progress? Yeah, sure. Take your time. That's okay.
Yeah, hi, Pallavi. It is just running for only the first line for me. So it seems I have made a mistake somewhere.
You're getting an exception. Read the
No, no, this
exception.
is see, I will run it again.
No, if you run it again, it will fail because your user is already registered. So you have to
Yeah, I
remove
have
that.
updated that.
Oh, you updated it?
I have updated that. Yeah. So this logs in, logs out. Yeah,
You're
till
not
here it is
clicking
fine.
on the continue button in your script. You're not clicking on the continue button. Since this user is logged in, you do not reach the creating another user page again, okay? So you need to
Okay, so
click
it is
on the,
failing to find that
yeah,
create an
yeah, your
account
flow
button
is not
page.
correct. So click on the continue button to go back to the screen which the script demands.
Sure, sure, sure. Thanks.
Okay. Your indentation, look at, stop executing the script. Look at your indentation, Monica. Every line, the only line within the for loop is the data line. Rest of the lines are not within the for loop. So it is not going to iterate. Be careful about the indentation. Indent them. Press tab button for each of these lines.
Okay.
Select all of them. You can select all of them and press a tab. So they will all come inside the for loop. No, don't select them now. For the tab you have already pressed, don't select them. Yeah. Now they are all inside the for loop. You are clicking on continue button twice. Why? You have
It
to
comes
click
two
on log
times.
off, and after log off you have to click on continue.
Okay.
You have to also log off. This continue is for
Creating account.
creating the data, then enter a new command for logging off and then clicking on continue link.
Okay, sure.
Okay, update the
Okay.
script, it will work.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So you will realize that sometimes in automation, creating of a data is also a task. Okay. So we also use automation for the purpose of creating of large number of data sets which we have to use in our test scenarios. So this script is an example of such a situation. Okay. So ideally in your register user, since you had not learned assertion yesterday, you should, to make it more better, you use synchronization and use assertion, and then try to give a bad data where you are using a user which is already registered to see how your script behaves. So that's how you can modify it. So we'll take an assignment problem for today. It is going to be only one assignment, but it will have all the components which we have learned. Create a script to buy a product. Use assertions and sync wherever appropriate. Parameterize the script using the following data set. So there is a condition for the data set. You have to use valid user, valid password, and an available product. Then you have to use a valid user, valid password, and an unavailable product. So you will not be able to buy that. And then invalid user credentials. So your script should be able to take care of all these scenarios. So you will have to use lots of if-else statements, assertions appropriately. So the first would actually pass. The second would basically print the product is not available which you are trying to buy. The third should print user credentials are invalid. So for these three types of data set, you have to create a script to buy a product using appropriate assertion synchronization and then parameterize this using these three data points. Is this clear? The assignment? You have to create a script to buy a product, use appropriate assertion synchronization wherever necessary, and then you have to parameterize the script using three data points. The first data point would be a proper scenario with valid user and available product. The second scenario has a valid user but a product you are trying to search which is not available, so you will not be able to buy it. The third, you will not be able to log in. So your script, your single script should be able to handle all these three scenarios and work with these three different data types. Is it clear now, Monica? Okay. Clear to you as well, Karthik? Great. So that's all we have for today. So we have covered quite significant stuff in Python and Selenium. Tomorrow when we meet, we are going to talk about how to handle some of the basic HTML elements which you have already seen so far, but nevertheless we are going to discuss more of them. Any questions? Anything which was not clear? How was today's session? Are you guys enjoying learning to automate in Python using Selenium? Are you all feeling comfortable? Complex, okay. So just challenge yourself a little more. Don't be afraid of errors or your script misbehaving. There is always a reason for that. I understand we are working in some time constraints, so that's why you guys panic a little bit, but don't. With experience, you will learn and be better at it. And practice and practice and practice. The more you practice, the better you will become. So try to do these assignments. You can think yourself about some of the assignment problems and try to automate. Let's say you want to automate the change profile scenario. So maybe you can try automating change profile. Then you can try another scenario which is also very good for your locators. Create a script. You can use the script in the assignment 1 only to buy. Create a script to log in with one user and buy 5 products and print their order information. So when you are going to try this particular script, it is a good script to help you try the locators, because you will realize that when you are trying to print the order information, They are available in different div tags or table tags. But maybe you should try this particular script after tomorrow or day after tomorrow session. So remind me to give you this assignment. So you click on view the orders you have made, and then you can print the orders that are generated, the first 5 orders. But to complete this script, you will have to have an understanding of tables. So let me remove it and give it to you again when we will do tables. Just remind me, please. Yes, you will need lots of XPaths. Create script for change profile scenario. Parameterize as follows. So there are different things you can do in change profile, right? So here you have the change field and then the change data. So for example, your script should be say last name and then let's say the last name which you want to change. Then maybe date of birth, sorry, phone number, and then the number you would like to update. Try this, okay? So if the first data point is last name, then you want to update the last name field. If the first data point is phone number, then you want to update the phone number. Just parameterize it for these two. Okay, try this out. All good? Okay, great. So I will see you guys tomorrow then. Thank you so much for your time and effort today. See you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye everyone.